Hello everyone, thank you so much for being here. I hope you're all as excited as we are. Well, at least I'm excited. I don't know about you.
Of course I am.
But yeah, today we'll be talking about how we sped up fashion supply chains with Odoo by enabling collaboration on purchase order changes via the supply portal. So we're basically talking here about purchase order change requests and then integrating this all with the portal from Odoo, right? We're going to discuss a bit how the business needs of our customer, then so their challenges, their core needs, and then actually the solution that we found, and try to give you an overview of what we did and how this works now in practice. Yeah, but first, just so you get to know us a little bit, so I'm Diogo Heitor. I'm a senior consultant at Much Consulting. Been working with Odoo for more or less 2 years now, which has been a great experience actually. And I'm here with one of our most esteemed customers, and this is definitely not what we say to all our customers.
Appreciate that, thanks a lot.
Yves, so. Yeah.
My name is Yves, I'm Head of Tech and Data at Expionic. I've been with the company for 3 years now, and I was leading the Odoo implementation 3 years ago together with Much Consulting. We implemented Odoo within 5 months. We are successfully using it since mid of 23 now, and as you can see, I'm still here, so is Diogo, so I guess we did quite a good job by implementing it.
Yeah, so just to give you a bit of context about Much Consulting, we are a consulting company with around 80 experts, so consultants and engineers. We are a gold partner with over 90% retention rate, and we always focus on process automation and efficiency, so make your business as boring as least boring as possible. And so we try to standardize processes and also, of course, provide a good experience with our customers with quality and making sure things are scalable. We also always focus on a long-term relationship so that we ensure there is a very tight cooperation with our customers, like we did with Expionic. Oops. Yeah, so.
Expionic, maybe you know the brand. It's a Swiss performance sportswear manufacturer brand. We're based in Zurich, Switzerland. We are very well known with our next to skin products, so-called base layers. Recently we also extended our product range and we entered the footwear market, so we launched our first trail running shoe. It's called TerraSkin, and this recent addition also brought some added complexity in our daily operations and supply chain processes. And one of these challenges, and how we solve these challenges, this is mainly the topic we're going to talk about in the next 15 to 20 minutes.
Yes, exactly. And I must say, the cooperation is good, especially because of the goodies. I'm sorry.
You mean our goodies?
Yes, of course.
Yes.
Yeah, so if you want to get the slides afterwards, feel free to scan the QR code, and then you can just get them afterwards, so you can also look into them with more detail. All right. So now talking a little bit about the challenges. So what were the main challenges that you faced, Steve?
I would see it in general, if you're a fashion manufacturer, you have within your purchase to pay process, so supply chain, you have two main challenges. You have a huge amount of suppliers distributed all over the world. They all have their own systems, they all have their own processes. And the second challenge we face is in fashion, you're always ahead of the actual business 12 to 18 months. So right now, we are planning our demand for season 26-27, winter, summer. And this needs quite a good planning. So once you place a purchase order towards your supplier, there's a time frame where you realize that you have to do some changes. And these changes are mainly caused by changes in the delivery time frames, like for example delays, or you have to cancel a specific style, a specific color of an item, for example. So you're going to cancel something out of a purchase order, or the other way around, you're going to add something to a purchase orders. And all these changes, we call it change requests, they need to be tracked somewhere. Until now, it was a bit of a, let's say, chaotic process. It was fragmented over different channels. You had an email saying, hey, we have to cancel this style in PO XY, and then you maybe got a WhatsApp from a different supplier, hey, we have to add another style here because of a change in the yarn. Or you got a phone call, that something has to be delayed because of something is missing, or the other way around. We decided to cancel something because we don't have enough demand to produce it. So it's a lot of back and forth within that process until you finally confirm a PO. And this, of course, causes you need to track those change requests somewhere, also for financial reporting. And so far we had a bit of a lack of visibility and accountability about those changes. And all these challenges together, they of course led to a high risk of errors. And then what I did, I called Diogo and I said, Diogo, we need a solution for that. Please help me and fix it. And how we did that and how we approached this challenge, this is something Diogo is going to tell you now.
Yes. So we tackled those issues, of course. That's what we're here for. But first we analyzed what actually was needed from Bionic. So clearly there was a need for transparency on the processes, on the discussions that their procurement department was having with their suppliers. And so we needed to make this a bit more clear to everyone in the company. Also a need to trace and understand where the changes were coming from, so that there's actually a way to actually look back and see, okay, this is where we went wrong, or this is how we can maybe improve in the future. And of course, like a need for better collaboration within the team, but also with the suppliers and the vendors directly. And so this is, we try to bring all of this together. Also better manage the changes better, improve the efficiency on their operations. So to make all the processes work and fall into place very efficiently, so that then in the end we are not losing time with unnecessary discussions, unnecessary processes. And so every time there is a change, this is tracked in the system, and anyone can go and check what is actually being done. So you don't need to actually be asking the person, you don't need to be finding the emails, all the discussions, so we go to the same place and find it. And also this allows us to kind of reduce the errors, because there's a lot of changes happening at the same time. And here, so we kind of implement the process that gives us a bit more control over what is actually being changed. So, and then we improve the accuracy of the data. So in the end, the business can run smoothly and you can sell more and more. And so basically taking into account all of these needs and what we've just discussed, we basically implemented the purchase order change request system integrated with their portal. So then we are able to place change requests through the user interface and also through the portal. So giving access to these two sites and improving then the way of work. To give you an overview of what actually it does, so here it can happen on the two sites as I mentioned. So the users can create a change request, or the suppliers can create a change request. And here it's basically possible to change a lot of things in the purchase orders. So they can change quantities. Maybe there's an agreement. We want less of a style, more of another style. So they can place these changes. They can also change the prices. Maybe there's some sort of agreement. Maybe you order more and you want to, get to an agreement with your vendors. Okay, now we order more, so we pay less on each unit. So this is something that can also be traced and changed, and also manage the delivery dates. So here there is a very big integration with also the inventory module and the deliveries. So each line has a delivery date and a delivery window, because the different goods are delivered in different moments. So based on the change requests and the dates that we define, we are basically changing also the delivery dates and changing and splitting, merging changes and deliveries. So it's actually quite a robust system. And as I mentioned before, also adding and removing styles. So then we have also the traceability and all the information in the system, as I mentioned in the past. So we have basically a specific model to track all of this, which improves the traceability and the communication. And then we also have the chance to define if changes are approved or rejected, and so we can also keep track of all of that in the same place. Of course, then this enables the reporting, and then we can monitor what was changed, the quantities, if we removed styles, why we removed the styles. So we have all of this information in the same place. Right?
I would say here we also realized that once we had the idea of that feature and we started to do all the requirements, we realized how complex it actually is. So I can definitely recommend, if you do something like that, invest enough time with the consultants to really narrow down the process to the details and try to understand, okay, what do we actually need? Because it's always bigger than you initially expect, right? Yeah, and that also made us a bit, like at some point realized, okay, that's going to be way bigger than we expected it to be at the beginning. It's not just some add change request things. As you mentioned, it's delivery time frames, it's different seasons, it's different POs. So it's the complexity has increased during the feature development, I would say.
And it's very easy to increase, like there's a lot of complexity around, so we always need to be very careful what we're changing, how we're impacting the processes, because then in the end, like our goal is always that the business runs as best that it can, right? And so basically the result is this led to, efficiency, a lot of accuracy and transparency, and just your people at Pax Bionic can then work faster and more reliably. Then could you explain to me a little bit, or to us in this case,
of course,
how this is actually working in the system?
Yeah, you basically, on that slide, you see 2 print screens. So one is the supplier portal we're using. All of our suppliers, they have access to this portal. So here we see a quotation, a purchase order, which they can place a request for a change. So for example, as Diogo mentioned, maybe they want to discuss or renegotiate the price due to change of material, demand of material, change of prices in the supply. What they do, they request a change, then they add the line, remove the line, change the line, they can change the delivery date, they can change the price, they can change the quantity, and then they can actually create the change request. So this is the supplier portal perspective.
Yeah, and what do your vendors, suppliers think of this portal?
To be fair, I would say maybe 30% of them are actively using it. It's quite a challenge to convince them to use it because they're very well, they're in their processor. They still prefer to send an email. So in this case, if they do that, we turn the logic around and we actually create the change requests for them in the system. So we still have the transparency and the traceability in the system. So I would say it's a challenge to, as I said, to convince them to use the portal, but it's still an improvement for us because we can place it for them if they don't do it.
Exactly. So it works both ways, and I think both ways there's an improvement of the way of work. Yes.
In Odoo, which then is assigned to the respective supply chain team member. And then below you see the details of those change requests. Here we have 3 examples. One is an update of something existing. I guess in this print screen it's the delivery date, so they change the expected arrival date of the goods. They can also change the quantity, or we can do it. Then second line is a removal of a product, of a style. This can be due to a cancellation of a specific color because we have too less demand. And then the third example, the third line, here we could add another style as a replacement, for example. Because if you cancel something, usually you replace it with another color, or you increase the quantity of another color.
Yeah, perfect. And just to give you also a bit more detail, we also include the section regarding the reason, so configurable reasons for the request, so we can actually differentiate between them. Like it can be like a change because of Pax Bionic just for some reason decided to modify the purchase order. Maybe the customer requested this and doesn't, and for some reason like they are not producing a style. Some decision. There's also basically a bunch of reasons that you can configure, and also we have also a description that then the users can use to define and clarify any doubts or just for future reference and understand better what happened. Also, actually, one of my favorite very small features here is the price variance. So it's not quite reflected here, but it's basically, it shows you in the end the difference, the financial difference that this change request will apply. So if, for example, if I'm reducing the quantities, if I'm changing the prices, etc., then in the end I can see, okay, so my PO is actually increasing by X amount, or we're actually reducing by an X amount. So this is actually a very small feature, but it gives you a good overview of the actual impact.
And it's super important for us to have the traceability
Yep.
and also reporting, for
Yep.
reporting reasons. Now, since we're having the BI tool on top, we can use those changes and those data also to have transparency towards the finance department. And also, we can use it as kind of a quality factor towards our suppliers. For example, if we see that one supplier has like 70% change requests, then we might gonna talk to them and renegotiate the terms. And you can actually break it down by change request reasons, which even more increase transparency for us to improve our business and to improve the efficiency. So this is a really great benefit of that feature as well.
Exactly. Yeah, here also so here just an overview of how the change request is initiated, also accepted, etc. Can you give me a bit more insight on how that is done?
Yeah, it's super simple basically, which is something I really like. So it's simple to use. You simply click on that create change request button, and then you add your change, and then you simply accept or reject the change, and this is also then displayed here in that column, which then again can be used in reportings to have the full transparency of all requested changes, the decision about these changes, and the actual impact of these changes at the end of the day.
Exactly, perfect. So just to give you an overview on our key learnings, because of this customization of this change that we apply with XBionic, we saw a very better communication. We saw that this change request system streamlined the communication, enhanced the visibility to the business, and basically increased transparency, right? Also the efficiency
100%.
of the communication of just the work in general for the procurement department definitely improved. And also this enabled us, as you mentioned before, Yves, basically to have better reporting and then to have better decision making based on this reporting. And as you said, then this is also then can be included in your BI interface.
Yeah.
And then basically supplementing business. And then also we learned how to kind of integrate these all of these sides of Odoo. So we have the purchase app, we have the inventory app, the website, all connected together to make like a solution that is whole and that works efficiently for your business, right? Yeah, so that is our presentation. If you have any questions, please feel free to place them. Also, if you want some goodies from XBionic, be my guest. Maybe I get a commission. Let's see.
We can negotiate that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
We're waiting for the first questions to come in. We have one question. Does XBionic have physical stores?
We do not have our own physical stores except in China. We are in the B2B business as well, so we do have our retailers selling our goods. We don't have our own stores, and we do have our own D2C web shop.
Clear. How did you enforce all your suppliers to work with the supplier portal?
This actually has not happened yet. So we've been trying to convince them to use the portal. As I mentioned before, that is quite a challenge. Some, they're using it because I would say they're maybe digitally a bit more up to speed, and then some are more in a bit of an older environment and they still prefer to send emails to our supply chain team. What we do in this case is we create a change request for them in the system. As Diogo showed, we have both ways. We have the portal, but we also can directly create the change request in Odoo.
Yes.
So it works for us still.
All right. How do you configure the product design and composition in case of changes?
Not exactly sure what that question means. Basically, like we have all the product master data in our ERP, in our Odoo, and there's different SKUs, of course, for every style, every composition. And then based on that change request, we're either going to add a new style which has another composition, or we're going to remove an existing one or cancel an existing one. But I'm not sure if I answered the question correctly, otherwise just feel free to hit me up later.
Is it possible to add an extra message with the change request?
Well, I guess it depends a bit what an extra message is, but it is possible to sell like basically, as I mentioned, we have the notes, we have the descriptions, we have the reasons. There's also a chatter function in the change request. So like, for example, in the purchase orders and other models. So, in fact, you can send messages and add information as you wish.
Okay, clear. Do you also work with subcontractors? Is the process designed for those as well?
We do work with some, depending a bit on the item or of the product category. But yeah, sometimes we do that.
In what countries do you sell?
We sell internationally. Like our own D2C is worldwide, and then B2B. It's the DACH region, it's China, Spain, France, Sweden, Denmark. So I would also say more or less worldwide.
All right, questions are still coming in. I'll give it a few moments. Did you sell this solution to other retailers?
Actually, until now, no, we haven't, like, at least not this specific solution. We have worked with other retailers and applied, for example, revisions to purchase orders or to sales orders, but this specific solution we haven't implemented for others. But it's something that we actually considered, and like if a similar customer comes up, there is no reason why we could not do something very similar.
Does it save the changes as well, such as new prices in vendor list?
Excuse me, can you come again?
Does it save the changes as well, such as new prices in vendors' price lists?
No, so this basically the changes are applied on a purchase order level.
Yes.
They are not like configured. They are not configured in the products. So this is basically more like an agreement. If there's changes to the agreements, they change for the purchase order specifically, but we are not applying those changes to the actual products directly. This can then be done separately. We thought that this would not make sense in the context of Xbionic.
All right. That seemed to be.
There was
all of
another
the
question. No.
No?
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much, then.
You're welcome.
Enjoy
Thank
the rest
you.
of your audio.
Thank you very much.
And by the way, just if you want to find us, we are in Hall 10, booth B1. I heard we have great coffee, so feel free to contact us.
It's really good.
So
If you have any more questions, feel free to talk to us.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.